Hello Stitchy friends! Welcome to the Starlight Stitching Co. floss tube, and today I have a special video for you. I wanted to share with you all of my finishes from 2023. So I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. It is now 2024, January 2nd, and I just wanted to share with you what I've worked on in the last year. Because sometimes it feels like we don't get a whole lot done, especially if we don't get a lot of time to work on the things that we love to do. But when you add it all up at the end of the year, it actually seems like a lot. So I thought I would share that with you today. So if you are returning, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. This is my little corner of the internet where I share whatever I've been working on the last few weeks. And like I mentioned, this is a special video where I will just be showing you all of my cross-stitch finishes from 2023. So just cross-stitch focused, not knitting or crochet or quilting. And I mean, I don't have any crochet or quilting finishes from last year anyway. I don't think. I might have to look back. Maybe I do. Anyway, but this video is focused on just cross-stitch finishes. And I do have my notes in front of me, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm checking my notes. I thought it would be fun to start off with a few stats. So at the beginning of 2023, I started off with 15 whips that I have documented. I feel like my last whip parade showed more than 15, but maybe that, I don't know. Either way, I have written down that I started off with 15 whips, and then throughout 2023 I had 60 new starts. I mean, I know there were a couple of bursts of startitis last year. There's just so many beautiful and amazing patterns coming out from designers everywhere, and I just want to stitch them all. I mean, they're all fun to work on. So 60 new starts. I finished stitching 35 and fully finished 20, and that leaves me with 40 whips that I am carrying into 2024. And I will have a separate whip parade, and I'll share with you my strategy for how I'm going to try to have fewer whips by the end of the year and more fully finished items. But I'll share more about that in my whip parade. Maybe later this week, maybe next week. We'll have to see how it works out. I'm kind of getting back into the swing of things after the holidays. I did work between Christmas and New Year's, but not as much as I normally do. So I don't know. It's just a little foggy brain going on here as we start the new year. So let's start off with my first finish. I will try to put as many links in the description box as I can. I don't know if I'll be able to fit all of them. And these are not necessarily in order from when I finished them in 2023. They're just the items that I finished stitching. So the first is Time for God by Lizzie Kate. It is such a beautiful pattern. I stitched this on a 14 count Aida. Looks like it's an oatmeal Aida, probably just from Walmart, and in the called for DMC colors. And it says, happy times praise God, difficult times seek God, quiet times worship God, hard times trust God, all times thank God. And this was just a really therapeutic piece to stitch on as I was going through the grieving process of losing my father last year. Can't believe coming up on a year of that. So maybe I need to go ahead and get this fully finished. To me, this piece like speaks spring colors to me. So I had thought about stitching it again in like 3 other seasonal palettes at some point in the future. So I have held on to this pattern just in case I decide to do that. But it is a really nice piece and a good reminder. And again, it was much needed therapy at the time. So I do have a finishing piece in mind for this. I just need to get it fully finished. I need to have a finishing day. So the next one, and this one is fully finished, is more Chocolate Bunnies by Hands On Design. This was a stitch along with Nicole Spohr on her floss tube, and I finished this on a simple wooden cutting board. I probably picked it up at Walmart. It just seemed about the right size, and tied a couple of bows, and I stitched one of the carrots from the pattern over one on the same fabric. So this is a 32 count raw silver Belfast linen. You will see it a lot. I love this fabric. It's beautiful, it's sparkly, it's 32 count, so the designs end up just a little bit smaller than they would if they were on 28 or 14 count. And I don't know, I just like it. So you'll see that I use it a lot. But this was stitched in the called for DMC colors. And just to give you a close-up, look at those adorable little button bunny tails. It's just so cute. Such a beautiful Easter piece. Okay. Then next, I have another full finish. This is Spring Doxology by Sweet Wing Studio. And I stitched this on a 14 count purple Aida that I RIT dyed myself. And I used a DMC color conversion to work with the purple fabric. So I basically just pulled out the called for colors, and anything that I didn't think worked well with the purple, I switched out to a color that I thought would work. And I put it in this little tobacco basket. Again, probably from Walmart, with a bow, a layered bow, and some little lavender sprigs to accent the purple fabric. Words are hard. I also have it layered on a board with some darker purple fabric. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love it when I get them fully finished. I don't know why I don't spend more time fully finishing items. Next up is Strawberry Jam by Stitching with the Housewives, and this was the retreat piece from the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher retreat last May in Kansas City. I do intend on going to that retreat again this year. But yeah, this was the retreat piece, stitched on a 14 count black Aida, and it just barely fit on the board. Barely. And it's layered with some red, what is it, Chelsea's Checks, I think. And on this finishing piece by Paisleys and Polka Dots that she painted. It was a lot of fun to attend the retreat and actually get to meet Priscilla and Chelsea and learn from them and come home with a finished piece. I love it. And along with that, for attending the class in the retreat, we received a freebie pattern, and I stitched it on some of the same 14 count black Aida. And then I finished it on this little round stand that is also from Paisleys and Polka Dots. It's absolutely beautiful. Some little bumblebees. Okay. Next, I have the Well Hello There pattern series from Hands On Design. Here, let's go to this side. And I stitched up Hello July. I splurged and bought the button pack from Fat Quarter Shop along with the patterns. And I am just changing up the colors as I see fit for each month. So this is Hello July. It is done and ready to be fully finished. This is stitched on a blue 14 count Aida that I had in my stash. Pale blue Aida in 14 count. And I used DMC 820, 312, and 304 for my colors. Next up, no, I don't want to do that one yet. I finished Christmas Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches. There was a stitch along for this chart last year. I believe it started in January, and they stitched all, no, that's not right. Welcome to the North Pole. They started this last January. This I had started the year before in 2022. I think there was somebody had a stitch along at the time. I didn't document it. Either way, it is stitched on 32 count raw gold Belfast linen. And I think I did a color conversion. Yeah, I used classic Colorworks color conversion to stitch mine. And it is so cute. I had hoped to have it finished for this holiday season, but that didn't happen. So maybe it'll be done for next year. Okay, I'll have to add a photo in here. There are a few items that I have finished and have since been gifted, so I don't have them on hand. I will add photos of those in as we come across them. So this one is Gathering Stitches by Luminous Fiber Arts. I stitched it on an 18 count Fiddler's Cloth Aida with the Color in Cotton thread in the color Bouquet. And it's a very pretty variegated purple, a lot of variegation. And since it's a monochromatic stitch, I wanted it to be very variegated and have a lot of movement in it. I finished it into a little pillow with some fabric on the back, and I added some complementing purple beads around the edge to cover up that seam, and it turned out really fun. And I gifted that to a swap partner, an online swap. I might have to stitch that again. I mean, I'm going to stitch it again. I kept the pattern. But it was such a fun finish in that little pillow. Okay, next I have Well Hello There February. And this is stitched on a 14 count. It's a fabric flare fabric. I forget what it is called. I don't know. I'll add it in the description if I can think about it. And I don't have my colors listed here, but I used a bright pink and a darker pink and black, and added the buttons that came in the button pack. Next up is another item that was gifted. It is Christmas in Pink, which I gave to my sister as her Christmas present for Christmas 2022, but she did receive it a little bit late because it took me a while to actually finish stitching it and find a frame and get it framed. But that finish is over here in a picture. Next up I have Stars and Stripes Forever. So this was another stitch along with Nicole Spohr, and it took two Cherry Hill Stitchery patterns and combined them together into this finished design, and I absolutely love it. It's on the same 14 count pale blue Aida that I used for Well Hello There July. I have several items stitched on this fabric just to all coordinate. So pretty. So I need to find a finishing piece for this. I don't know how I'm going to finish this one yet. Next up, just using the same colors as the Stars and Stripes Forever, I have the USA Forever stamp from Fat Quarter Shop. This was a free pattern, and I stitched it up and then sewed it into this sweet little pillow with this lovely red, white, and blue floral fabric. The name of the fabric line is not coming to me. Some lace trim layered there, and then a red, white, and blue bow with a button in the center, and just more of this fabric on the back. Cute little pillow finish. Then I have this Patriotic Sue Bonnet. This is a free pattern from Tiger Lily Designs. Also stitched on the same fabric and the same colors. I basically just used the scraps I had left over from Stars and Stripes Forever. And this one I sewed into a little pillow with this star print and this lovely red pom-pom trim. I added a double layer twine bow and this really pretty sparkly button. Super cute. Just some fabric on the back to close it up into a little pillow. Absolutely adorable. The next finish I have is To All a Good Night by Stitching with the Housewives. This is one that I had started, was it 2021? Maybe even 2020. I don't know. I don't remember when I started it, but either way, I finished it this year, and it is stitched on a 14 count opalescent Aida that I RIT dyed in indigo dye with the called for DMC. No, this is all fancy floss. This is a called for classic Colorworks. Very pretty. I have the finishing frame for this that Priscilla used. I just need to get it fully finished. Next up is a big finish from last year. This one is a piece I had started in 2021. This is Autumn Love by Lori Holt, which you can get from Fat Quarter Shop. I stitched it on a 28 count tea-dyed linen by Charles Craft, and I used the called for DMC. I did switch up a few colors, so I stitched the border in B5200, which I don't think that one was a called for color, was it? Either way. And the house I switched to the darker blue that the pattern called for. And I absolutely love it. You will see that this will be hanging up for at least a few years and will not be put in the autumn decor boxes because it is just so gorgeous. I do have this framed in a frame from the Rusty Roof under glass because after putting all that love into it, stitching it, I don't want it to get ruined by dust or dirt and whatnot. It is not museum glass, so of course you can see the reflections in it, but it is still beautiful. So that is my Autumn Love that I absolutely love. Okay, then I have, well, Hello There January. And this is stitched on a Fabric Flare Aqua Dye with Snow, which is a 14 count Aida. So seeing as it's January, whoops, I should get this fully finished. And I should for sure at least cut it out of this very large piece of fabric so I can use the rest of it for something else. So here it is. Super cute. I need to get that one finished soon, very soon. Okay, next I have Autumn Alphabet by Primrose Cottage Stitches. This is stitched on a 32 count LFA linen in the color Millstone with a fancy floss color conversion. And then I found this frame decor piece from Walmart in the fall decor section. It had a raw wood frame that I just used some paint to like faux stain it. So I painted it on and then wiped it off immediately with a damp paper towel, and that's how I got that little stained effect with paint. And then I mounted my cross stitch on a foam board and surrounded it with that green pom-pom trim, and it is just glued onto the little sign that was hanging in the frame. And I added a fall inspired bow on top with a couple of picks with pumpkin and corn and leaves, and it just looks so cute. I have the Christmas alphabet pattern that I had hoped to stitch this last Christmas season that I didn't get around to, that I would like to finish in the same way, because I do have another one of these frames. I picked up two at the time. before they were all gone. And this is a fancy floss color conversion, just to use what I had on hand. Okay. Excuse me. Next up is a recent finish. This is Quilted Christmas by Emily Call Stitching. And I stitched this on an 18 count opalescent Aida that I RIT dyed with aquamarine dye. And it is just adorable. So I need to figure out how I want to finish this little cutie and get him finished up, because he would still be okay to have out during January and February, I think. Okay, next up. Oh, and I used a color conversion similar to the called for colors, and those were mostly fancy flosses. Either Color and Cotton or Classic Colorworks, just to use my stash. The next finish I have is one that was gifted. So this is the Silent Night ornament from the Religious Christmas Trio by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And it was stitched on a scrap of 32 count raw gold linen. And I used a Classic Colorworks color conversion. Next, I have technically 5 different finishes. It is the Festive Banners from Hello from Liz Matthews. So this one is from the kit in the class. Absolutely gorgeous. I love having it on my tree. And then these 4 were gifted as gifts. And the ones I gifted as gifts were stitched on 32 count raw silver linen in the called for DMC colors. So I had a scrap that was just wide enough for these lovely little ornaments, and I was able to get it sewn up, stitched up, and finished on some little wreath gift toppers that I had found at Walmart. I did do a finishing, no, I did not do a finishing video for that one. I did a finishing video for the Silent Night ornament, and I will link that in the description box below. Then I have the So Berry Sweet by White House Stitchery. I stitched one of the little blocks and finished it into a sweet little pillow pincushion finish, and this was gifted as part of the strawberry swap that I participated in earlier this year. And that was stitched on a 32 count raw silver linen by Zweigart. Like I said, I like that fabric. It is so beautiful. It stitches wonderfully, and I had it on hand, so I went ahead and used it. That is the whole point in having a stash, right? So the remainder of the finishes I have are ones that I designed throughout the year that I am very excited to share with you. So as part of the Clutch Club, I started designing cross-stitch patterns to go along with those that fit the theme, as a way to give some more value into those club packages. So the first one I have is called Wild Chicory, and this was inspired by a piece of crewel embroidery that my grandma had hanging in her home for years. And it is one that I associate with her. So here it is. It is Wild Chicory. And of course I used the called for fabric and floss because it was my pattern. And I finished it onto this board from Walmart with some pretty blue gingham ribbon and some flowers and a coordinating stitched button. So included in the pattern is the pattern for this little button cover. And this is such a pretty little finish, and I absolutely love that pattern, and I love seeing it hanging in my craft room. It's normally hanging right there where those command strips are visible, because I took it off the wall so I could show it to you. But there is quite a bit of back stitching in this pattern, but it really sets off these flowers nicely, and I love it. Absolutely love, love, love it. Okay, next, well, I guess we'll just go, no, this one was next. Barn quilt was next. And this is finished onto a Barn Star board from Scarlet Sky Designs. Again, called for fabric and floss, and just finished with a simple bow at the top. Sweet and simple. And I just love how that little barn looks with that fabulous red, white, and blue border. And our barn quilts here in the corner as well as on the barn. Super duper sweet. Next up was Share Your Sunshine. So this was a sunflower theme. I had a lot of fun working on this pattern and picking just the right colors. So again, called for fabric and floss. And here you can see a better view of the detail that's stitched into those flowers and the leaves and those adorable little bumblebees. So this is a crate. I don't know what they would call it. I picked it up from Walmart. This is technically the front. So I just turned it around and stuck it inside the back and then tucked in a layered bow and some sunflowers for this sweet little finish. Okay, and then the final club pattern was Snowman's Christmas. And I finished this into a box frame from Chantel's 141 Design Company that I painted. And then I attached a sweet little snowflake bow with some jingle bells and a couple of snowflake picks. And then popped my finish in there. So this is stitched on a 14 count navy Aida. And I just love this snowflake border. I've been loving the borders on the samplers that I've been stitching, so I kind of wanted to evoke that a little bit in a smaller pattern. And that's what we have, this sweet little snowman with his friends next to the Christmas tree. I do have a finishing video for this one, and I will make sure to link that below. So next up, I started a series. I wanted to have some freebies to offer to you instead of just paid patterns. So I started with a seasonal birdhouse pattern. And the first one of those was in July. So here is the July birdhouse. Now each little birdhouse has decorations that fit the theme for that month, and each one has a themed quilt hanging up somewhere in each pattern. Now these patterns are free until the end of the month that they were for. So the July birdhouse was free all through the month of July, and then after that they are $5 a piece. And here is the August birdhouse. I kind of wish I would have stitched this on a little bit darker of a fabric so you could see the birdhouse better. And you can see the difference in the thread colors better. But it is absolutely adorable. Now the rest of them I have stitched but not fully finished. So here is September. The little flagpole is a pencil, and they've got this stack of books here, and then an apple tree over here, and some letters across the bottom. Next up is October. So a little witchy birdhouse. She's got her cauldron here, her jack-o'-lantern for a post light, and a little spider. Spiders here, birds in the air, and steam coming out of the chimney, and just kind of a little wonky house. Next up is one I just recently finished. I really wanted to have all of the birdhouses finished for this video. So I finished stitching up my November birdhouse finally. And it is so much cuter than the digitally stitched pattern. So here this little birdhouse lives in a sweet little gourd and has some pumpkins and leaves surrounding it. And then my most recent one, the December birdhouse. So this has been a good little birdie because they were visited by Santa Claus. And their post light is a candy cane. This is the only, I just realized it, this is the only one that doesn't have a quilt hanging in it. Oh, I didn't even realize that until now. I designed it, I stitched it, and I didn't realize there wasn't a quilt hanging in it until now. But that's okay, because it's still absolutely adorable, and I love it. I love all the detail. The candles in the window, and the presents with the little bows, and all of the little Christmas lights. Those little Christmas lights were a bit of a booger to stitch, but they are so cute. I mean, that's my back. You can tell I carried the floss because there was no way I was going to start and stop that often, but it is adorable and it was worth it. So I hope to have more of those patterns in the next year to finish out the year. I don't know what I'll do after that. If you have suggestions for a theme that you would like to see for some small little freebies, let me know. I do have 2 more finishes that I forgot to include. So this is a Stitching with the Housewives pattern. I stitched it in 2022, but I fully finished it in 2023. So that's why I'm including it in this video here, because I fully finished it. Just into a sweet little pillow. So it is stitched on a bluish green Aida. I believe it's a 14 count Aida, it looks like it is, that I RIT dyed myself. And I put some yellow plaid fabric on the back and some yellow pom-pom trim to finish it into a little pillow. And then my last finish that I was able to squeak into 2023 is Winter Quaker by Primrose Cottage. You can tell I really love their patterns. They have some beautiful patterns. So many designers have beautiful patterns. But so yeah, this is Winter Quaker. I started this on Christmas Eve and finished it on New Year's Eve. So what, a week? And a very busy week, I might add, being Christmas. So this is stitched on a 32 count raw silver Belfast linen. Again, one of my favorites. So it sparkles very nicely. And I used Classic Colorworks Wavy Navy as my color, because the shop that I purchased it from, Annabella's, I think, was out of the Battleship color. So I picked Wavy Navy instead, and it still looks absolutely beautiful. And I'm excited to turn this into a pillow finish very soon. I have all the supplies set out and ready to do it, because this year I want to get many more things fully finished and up for decorating so I can enjoy them instead of having them sit in a box somewhere. Maybe sometime later we'll take a peek through my finished but not fully finished box. It's on one of the shelves right over here. So those were all of my finished items from 2023. How many did I say there were? 35, I think. Hold please while I find the page. Yeah, 35 finishes. I mean, that's actually quite a lot. I'm kind of proud of myself for that, even though I still have 40 whips. So, you know, but we will talk about that another day. So thank you so much for spending your time with me today so I could share with you the items that I finished in the last year. I am really looking forward to all of the stitchy goodness in the coming year, and I hope to share a whip parade with you soon. I will try to put as much in the description box as I can, but if you have any questions about any of the patterns or items I've shown in today's video, please don't hesitate to leave a comment or send me an email at the email in the description box below, or get a hold of me on Instagram, however you choose. I would be happy to help in any way I can. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fabulous start to the new year, and I will talk to you later. Bye.